Hello and welcome to Movies and More with Shivam Pota. I'm your host, Shivam Pota, and today we have a really cool guest on. We have one of the currently most interesting comedians in the UK. He's rising fast. He's been on some great TV shows, Mock the Week, Live at the Apollo. He has a big role in Man Like Mobeen, and he might be getting his own show. Please welcome Mr. Tez Ilyas.
Yay! Thank you for having me, Shiv, man. I appreciate it.
So, I hope it's all well with you. So we're just going to dive into some fun questions. So,
Yeah.
Tez, what's your favorite film and why?
My favorite film of all time. It's a bit of a weird one. It's not. I'm not saying it's the best film of all time, but my favorite one is From Dusk Till Dawn, directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by Quentin Tarantino. And it was actually my first introduction to Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's work, and I really, really liked it. I love the plot twist in it. I won't give it away for people who haven't seen it, but it starts off as this like thriller where the main character George Clooney and his brother, played by Quentin Tarantino, kidnap this family because they're on the run from the police, and then midway through the film, it completely switches genre into something else. And I won't give that away, but it's brilliant. It's really well written. It's quite silly. It's very funny in places, and it's got great performances. Love it.
So, now, complete opposite of that. What's your least favorite film and why?
My least favorite film, I would probably say Les Miserables. I haven't seen the play before people get really offended, and I haven't read the book either. But I saw the film with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe and a few others, and I thought it was terrible. I thought it was so bad. First of all, Russell Crowe was horribly miscast because he can't
Yeah,
sing, and I know something about that. Sorry, go on.
wow. Yeah, I remember when it first came out, I was on holiday in Australia, and my parents were like, "Do you want to go see this film?" And I'm like, I would literally see anything else but that film.
The thing I hate about it the
And
most was there's a character that's introduced about a third of the way in called Marius Pontmercy, and he ended up being the main character. And I just hated him so much because he's this posh kid helping out the revolution. I don't know, because he's bored, and then his head gets turned by this girl that he's never met in his life, and he starts chasing her. Then that girl's uncle takes her away because obviously this guy's a pervert, so he's like, I better get her away from him. And then he tucks his tails between his legs and just rejoins the revolution because obviously there's nothing better for him to do. And then everyone dies except him, and I wasn't impressed. And then he gets the girl.
wow, I haven't seen that film,
Well, there were
but
spoilers
wow,
there, but don't watch it.
like it does, like, from what you said, I have no intention to see it at all. So 2018, in my opinion, was an excellent year for film. So
Mm.
what was your favorite film from that year?
You know, people are going to be disappointed at this probably, but I think my single favorite film was Avengers Infinity War.
I wish I was joking, but that is also my favorite film. And the last guest I had on the show also said Avengers: Infinity War.
Really? Yeah, it was good. I can't say that, like, maybe Captain America Civil War. That would have been one of my favorite films of that year, the year Civil War, not Civil War, sorry, Captain America Winter Soldier. The second Captain America film. The year that came out, that might have been one of my favorite films of that year. But since then and before that, this is the only time a Marvel film would even be my top three. I think
Wow.
it was genuinely great.
Yeah.
And
No,
that and that and that and that ending. Woo.
yeah. No, like Infinity War blew me away. I went because I'm a huge Marvel fan.
Mm.
Like, I have a massive Infinity War poster in my room. I got the Blu-ray for Infinity War. I got my like a mini like foam gauntlet. I'm a
Wow.
massive Marvel fan. I even went to this big fan event recently where you can meet some of the like stars of Captain Marvel, and I got the chance to meet Sam Jackson, which was
Wow, that's pretty
pretty great.
cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where was
So
that?
it was basically in this like huge hotel in Singapore,
Oh, great.
and I queued up for like 8 hours for the event. Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
I
cool.
feel it was, yeah. So Yeah, I agree. Infinity War is a very, very great. Like, yeah, I think it's one of the I think top five MCU films for me. And I saw that film twice in cinemas. I saw an opening night with all my friends, and then I saw it like 3 weeks later on a smaller screen because I saw it first in IMAX opening night, and it was
Yeah,
insane.
same. That's what I did as well. Because also I didn't want any spoilers from it as well, so I just thought I'm going to watch it as
Yeah,
early as possible. So if someone annoyingly on Twitter posts something about it, at least I've already seen the film.
yeah, fair enough. I wasn't so lucky, sadly, with that. A certain person I know decided to spoil the film for like a chunk of the film for me and my friends. But still, even though I knew what was going to happen, I was still blown away by every second of what I was seeing on screen.
Yeah, it was very good.
Um, and funny thing was, after the film ended, me and my friends were just emotional messes. And as we're walking out, we see one of our school teachers, and we just like run for it. It was, yeah.
That's
So,
very cool.
are there any film franchises you would love to be a part of?
Oh, of course. I mean, Marvel would be a cool one to be part of, wouldn't it? Um, Something like the Matrix. That would have been really really cool to be part of. John Wick. I just get my ass kicked by Keanu Reeves. I think that'd be pretty cool. Um, there's a new Bill and Ted film coming out.
Yeah,
They could call it Bill and Tez, so I could be part of that.
yeah. Go on.
Yeah, so I could be part of that. Indiana Jones. They could call that Indian Jones. I could be part of that franchise. There's loads.
That'd be
There's
great. Yeah.
yeah, there's loads of film. If they ever do a Bollywood remake of Indiana Jones, they have to call it Indian Jones.
That'd be great. Like every other scene is a dance sequence,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
and they're like,
Yeah, man, I'd love to be part of them. To be honest, I'm more of a DC fan than I am a Marvel fan, but the MCU have just killed it.
yeah. But because I saw Aquaman and I was sadly pretty disappointed with it. However, Shazam really looks fresh and new, and I'm really hoping they don't mess it up with Shazam. Like
Yeah,
that's one of my
Shazam looks
main
cool, doesn't
worries
it? It looks
when
it
it
looks a
comes
bit
to DC right now.
yeah, it looks a bit different to the other normal films they have. So yeah, hopefully Shazam will be something a bit different, something a bit cool.
Yeah, because I feel like they're gonna go for a more like a light and humorous tone, and also just scale it down a bit.
Mm.
Because every single film we've had is big world-ending little thing. Like we don't want, we want smaller films like Ant-Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
need these
yeah,
smaller films to ground the universe.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Kind
So
of, kind
what's
of, kind of like how the Dark Knight trilogy was.
yeah, pretty much.
That was always
Where
about Gotham. It
yeah,
was never about
it's
like world-ending, things. So,
yeah, very true. So what's a film you're extremely excited for this year?
well, apart from Avengers Endgame, very excited about that. See what happens in the conclusion of this phase of Marvel films. Obviously, see what's going to become of our heroes. Um, I mean, it's not a film strictly, but I cannot wait for the new series of Game of Thrones, which is going to finish off that series. I'm really excited about that. Looking forward to how that finishes. Um, yeah, that's probably the main two things I'm looking forward to this year. I think I'm looking forward to some of those Disney remakes. See what they do with them, like Aladdin and Dumbo and stuff, and
Yeah.
see. Although Aladdin, like I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna watch that like a car crash, but hopefully it'll be alright. And
Yeah.
and Dumbo also looks like they've taken all the humor out of the film and made it a lot more serious. So
It feels bleak. It's like because
yeah,
Tim Burton's directing, and it feels a bit bleak.
yeah. There's no cricket in it.
Maybe, yeah, it doesn't have that sort of whimsy that the original had.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So hopefully they'll do something with it that'll be really really interesting and different enough. Like weirdly, I recently watched Mowgli, the one that's on Netflix, the one that Andy Serkis directed.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was really impressed with it. I actually probably enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the Disney live action remake. Weirdly
Wow.
enough,
I
yeah, I
should probably
really,
check
I
that
really
film
liked
out.
it. I really liked it. It's very different to It's not a Disney film. It's more closely based on the original book by Rudyard Kipling. But it was, yeah, I really liked it, man.
So Other than comedy films, what other genres would you like to be a part of?
You know what? I'd love to do like an action film. I'd love to get like a personal trainer for 6 months and then like be like, oh yeah, you're cast in the new Fast and Furious film alongside The Rock and Vin Diesel. And I'd be like, I'm gonna need a personal trainer for that for 6 months. And they probably get me ripped and end up being in that film or something. That'd be cool.
I would like buy my ticket on opening day if you were in a Fast and Furious film. That would be incredible.
That'd be sick. I'd love that. Me and my rickshaw getting chased by Vin Diesel. I'd love that.
Yeah. No, but I found it funny. They went to England for Fast and Furious 6, but they only did it in like the fancy London streets. I would love to have them just drive around like North London in like a chase sequence or
Yeah, like
something.
through Southall or Wembley or something.
Yeah, like just something like, and then you can see like just like some like locals saying like like just like random locals shouting at them. It would be the funniest thing in the world.
That'd have been hilarious.
Yeah. So just going back to the Aladdin thing, did you see the Will Smith genie image?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was not super impressed with it. So hopefully it looks better when once the movie is actually recommended. Hopefully.
Because like Will Smith looks a bit strange as the genie, at least in my opinion. But Guy Ritchie's directing, so I have faith in him because he made Snatch, and that's one of my favorite films.
Yeah, so
But
obviously he was made Lock, Stock and Snatch, but since then he hasn't made a single good film, and he's made a few. So I'm a little bit worried.
I think his next film after Aladdin is going to be a bit of a return to form. It's called, I think I forgot what it's called, but it was original name was called Tough Guys, and it's back in London, but back in England, back with British actors, and it's back to its sort of gangster roots, which I honestly hope pans out well.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's what he's good
Uh,
at.
So, if you could play any historical figure in a film or a TV show, who would you play and why?
Ooh, what historical figure would I play? That is a great question. Um, Obviously, I probably wouldn't be suited to it, but what I would love to play is just some I don't know, something like Charlie Chaplin or something. I think that'd be pretty cool. But obviously, like I don't have the right look for it, but I think I'd love to play Charlie Chaplin. I mean, they cast Scarlett Johansson in roles she's not suitable for, so why should it matter? Like, yeah, playing Charlie Chaplin would be pretty cool.
So you have a pretty large and very memorable role on Man Like Mobeen. You play Mobeen's best friend, Eight,
Mm,
who is a bit
mm.
of a goofball, I would say.
That's
Um,
putting it mildly.
yeah. So how do you get in character when playing someone who is just a complete sort of opposite from how you normally are?
It's just really that role is so much fun to play. I don't really have to work that hard for it. I just turn up and just it's kind of similar to kind of people that I've come across in my real life. They're probably not as stupid as him, bless him, but they're similar. You know, you've met characters in your life that you kind of like, oh wow, you are not all there. Who's driving the wheel in your brain? Like, and I just kind of channel them. And the accent that he has is kind of based on the accent that where I'm from in England, people speak on the streets. So it wasn't that much of a stretch to prepare for that role, and I just really enjoyed doing it, and it's a lot of fun to do.
So did you run into any challenges in playing Eight?
Not no, not particularly. It's just well, I guess not being a trained actor and um, having to jump into this acting stuff that was quite tough. Like learning the ropes and how everything works and stuff. In terms of the actual acting bit, that's really fun. But I think people who've never done any sort of acting don't realize how long it takes to film each scene because they film it from all different angles, especially when you're single
Yeah.
camera. They film it from all different angles, and so you end up doing each line like 50 times. Um, and before going into it, I never appreciated that that's what would happen. So it was, yes, I'm learning a lot from the experience. But yeah, playing that role in that show is such a dream.
Yeah, a similar thing happened with me because I'm a short filmmaker right now,
Mm,
and I just was filming my recent short film, and funnily enough, like the same thing happened to the actors. We had to get different angles. Like, wait, we're doing this together. I'm like, yeah, you sure we need
yeah,
that angle? I'm like, it would save time post production, but as the shooting continued, they pretty much knew everything, and it was really fun. Um, so my next question was, What was the funniest thing that's happened on the set of Man Like Mobeen? Because it's a comedy show, so you'd think some hilarious things would happen. So
Yeah, we just have a massive laugh making the show. Like it's more about like kind of in jokes and stuff. Like every scene we're kind of making each other laugh and stuff, which is always really really fun. One of my funniest memories was you've seen the series, right? The new
yes, I
series.
finished it.
Yeah,
That
so
ending, oh my god.
yeah, so in that ending, obviously I've got the makeup on because I've been beat up and stuff. But when the makeup was applied to me, so it looked like I'd been really heavily beaten up. I sent a picture of that to my manager, to my agent, and said, "Oh no, I fell on the set." And she just started panicking and be like, okay, cool, all right, we're gonna have to pull you from filming. And there are a couple of other TV things that I had. She goes, okay, cool, it's all right, it's all right. It takes 6 weeks to heal. Then we get you back. Obviously, I called the producer and stuff, and she was fully panicking before I let her know that I was joking. And then she was like, Tess, I could kill you. Ah, why would you do that to me? So that was really funny for me. I enjoy pranking her. That was good fun.
Actually, I wish I was joking here, but I did the same thing to my mom. So in my film studies class, we were learning how to apply blood makeup, blood effects.
Mm.
So I did a huge gash down my arm, and it was a day of just, like learning experimentation stuff for film. So we got to wear um wherever we wanted. So it was like the first time I was wearing um my Air Jordan shoes, and then I sent the photo to my mum, and then she freaked out and said, "Oh my god, what happened? It must have been your Air Jordans that made you fell." And they got like 50 calls back to messages saying, "No, no, no, it's just blood effects."
That's hilarious. You're like, yeah, don't take my Air Jordans away. I'm only joking.
So well, so you obviously are a stand-up comedian. That's
Hmm.
how you got into stuff like Man Like Mobeen, and that's really like your forte. And so, what was the most memorable? Sorry, what was the most memorable thing to happen to you while you're doing stand up?
I think the most memorable gig I've ever had was at Lava the Apollo when I filmed that last September, which I think came out in November. That was just an incredible experience. So many of my family came down from Blackburn to London to support me, and yeah, that was incredible. One of those most single abiding memories I have on stage was I was doing a gig, and nothing to do with anything that I was doing. This woman started to shout out "bacon" at me, and it was a bit
What?
like, what? Because she was like non-Muslim, and because I'm Muslim, I guess she wanted to try
Yeah,
and offend me. And it's just like a really weird situation because I kind of like was like, why would you shout out bacon? Like that's not our kryptonite. Like it's not gonna make me melt. Like I'm not the Wicked Witch of the
yeah,
West, and that's the pail of water you've thrown over me, and I'm gonna melt now because you shouted out bacon. Like it was just really really weird, but I made her feel very embarrassed about it.
yeah. Like that's like going up to someone with nut allergy and saying cashews. Like they're
Yeah,
not going to
exactly.
explode or
Yeah,
like start
exactly,
hyperventilating. What do they think was going to happen? I mean,
exactly.
yeah, like that's like because I'm vegetarian and also Hindu. My friend kept saying beef to me. I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? I'm gonna melt. Like, it just
Yeah,
makes no
exactly.
sense.
It makes no
It's,
sense. So yeah, like, I made her feel suitably embarrassed about that.
so right now, I feel like we are in a new era of comedy. I feel like we are in somewhat of a renaissance for like of great comedy right now,
Mm.
because there are so many amazing comedians, obviously including you, that are just hilarious. So, who do you feel are some up and coming comedians that might be huge really soon?
So in the UK, obviously that's all I can talk about.
Yeah,
There are some great comedians that people might. So I won't talk about the people that are already are on TV and stuff. But in terms of
yeah.
people that are up and coming, people like Kay Kurd, Ola the comedian, Fumbi, Darren Harriet is great. Ishan Akbar. There's some really great comics up and coming like Catherine Bohart, someone who's doing really well. So there are some up and coming comics who are really I think people are really going to get to know the next couple of years.
Wow. Well, I for one, I'm gonna list like write all those names down and start researching them.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of those names that I mentioned earlier, they're on their own podcast called Quarters Full, Quotas Full, and that's really worth a listen. It's like and I'm on that quite a lot as well myself. So it's definitely a podcast worth checking out.
So yeah, you heard that, listeners. Go check out that podcast. And obviously,
After you listen to this one, obviously.
yeah. Um, so, who are your comedic inspirations and influences?
So there's quite a few. Obviously, some stand-up comics like Peter Kay, Stuart Lee, and then across the pond over in the North America, there's like Russell Peters and Chris Rock and Sarah Silverman and Dave Chappelle. But I also really love writers like Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who wrote South Park, and
Yeah.
Armando Iannucci, who wrote a sitcom that I love called The Thick of It. So yeah, I've got and Chris Morris, who wrote Four Lions, which is one of my favorite films
Oh,
of all
for
time.
Lions. Yep.
Yeah,
What a
so
film.
exactly. So I have a lot of broad influences for just people who kind of push the boat out a bit. Even Sacha Baron Cohen with Ali G and Borat and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
just people who really push the boat out in terms of stand up and try and redefine genres. I'm a really big fan of those things.
So, who is a comedian you consider to be the best comedian of all time?
Who it's a tough one because there are some great comedians, but for me, my single, I think I probably hard pass to look someone like Dave Chappelle. I think he'd definitely be in most people's top three of all time. Yeah, so I'm gonna say Dave Chappelle. But in the UK, I'd say the best comic, in my opinion, in the UK is probably Peter Kay.
Yeah, no, Peter Kay is. I'm not trying to describe him, but like, there's something about him. It's somewhat simplistic, but it's just really funny.
He's
And
just hilarious. Someone described him as he could read the telephone book, the directory, and it would still be hilarious.
pretty much. And I actually never heard of him until last year, where I was taking GCSE film media studies, and we had to study comedy, like comedy programming, and
Mm.
I had to watch Kasha, and I'm like, oh my god, this dude's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, but his stand up, especially his early stand up, was amazing.
Um, so on Dave Chappelle, have you seen any of his new comedy? And did you see him in the film A Star Is Born?
Yeah, I thought he was great in that.
Yeah, that I didn't even know he was going to be in the film. So I was watching along. I'm like, what is that Dave Chappelle? I'm like, no, it can't be. I searched up on IMDb. I'm like, oh my god, that's Dave Chappelle. But because he was really good in that role, that you
Mm.
couldn't really tell, that's a comedian. And he's another example of comedians that are great in dramatic roles. And I feel like actually comedians would be excellent in dramatic roles. And especially like in Man Like Mobeen, they tackle some difficult situations like knife crime and sort of like drug dealing and the bad effects on the youth. And every dramatic scene I feel is nailed really well.
Yeah, man. We try hard. We got a really good director, Ollie Parsons, really good producer in Jill Isles as well, and they're always on set, obviously supervising everything and directing us really well. So I feel like we're really well looked after, and we're really well directed as well in terms of what they need from us in terms of performances. And fortunately, we've been able to take those messages on and do what we need to do.
So I'm now gonna move the topic onto something quite, I feel, important in this day and age. Representation on film and TV,
Yes,
especially for the South Asian community.
yes.
This is something I feel really strong about, and I feel, it has to be a bit better. So my question for you is, sorry, in your opinion, what is some of the best, most true to life and nuanced representation you've seen of Asians and South Asians on TV or a film?
But we're talking about in the West, yeah, because
Yes.
obviously we're not including Bollywood and stuff.
Yeah, because like, yeah,
So I would say I thought the Big Sick was really good.
yeah, couldn't agree
I
more.
thought that was really well done. Goodness Gracious Me was great. Obviously, that was lampooning certain stereotypes, but I thought that was brilliant. Man Like Mobeen. Obviously, I'm biased, but
Yeah, no, but I agree. I agree
I would say that was done really well. Crazy Rich Asians. Great film. I know that's not South
for sure,
Asians, but
but still, yeah.
I thought that was brilliantly well done for in the West to see East Asians represented in that way was a real eye opener, and I thought it was brilliantly well done.
Crazy Rich Asians for me has such a big place in my heart because I actually interned on the film set for Crazy Rich
Oh
Asians.
wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I guess it was filmed where you're from, so um,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I
school
thought
work
that was really well done.
experience.
You know what? It reminded me a lot of. It reminded me of a Bollywood film with minus the dance numbers.
Yeah, it is pretty much a Bollywood film. All that family drama, saying
And
your dad's actually
yeah,
this person. Yeah,
the
it
love
felt
story,
like
all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah. So, because like for my year 10 work experience, I ended up on like production for Crazy Rich Asians,
that's really cool.
and I actually, funnily enough, my biggest contribution to the film is I helped choose certain curtains for certain scenes. I spent a day scanning through IKEA and certain websites looking for the correct curtains to order for the set.
Wow, wow. Well,
And when I saw the film in cinemas with my
make sure.
parents,
Did
when I
you hear
saw
that,
that
listeners?
curtain,
That is big time. But that's the sort of detail people don't appreciate that goes into filmmaking.
yeah, I spent like a good day just searching like online for curtains for the set. And when the curtains showed up in the film, I almost fainted. I'm like, Mom. I was like, what?
That's pretty
You see those
cool.
curtains? Yeah, what?
That's pretty
That
cool.
was me. Um,
Well, then there was later back in the day there was East. Um, that was really good. And then obviously Four Lines as well, which is obviously
yeah,
quite looking at a serious topic in a very funny way, but I thought it was really well
yeah.
done. So yeah, things are getting better. I think definitely.
So, in my opinion, Goodness Gracious Me was so ahead of its time because I found the show 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, wow, for a fairly new show, this is like the quality is not very like the camera quality isn't very good. And I searched and it was like from the 90s, and I was shocked that this like sort of show was even airing in the 90s,
Yeah,
because
they were great. They were so ahead of their time. It was really something.
and I was watching the trailer for a film called Yesterday, and there's a in the trailer. It's a pretty big like film, Danny Boyle's new film, and you can see there's a scene with Sanjeev Bhaskar and I think Meera Syal,
Mm. Yeah,
and they saw like
they're married, you know.
what?
Yeah, yeah, they're married to each other.
And then because they have a small scene in the trailer, I'm like, whoa, it's the guys from Goodness Gracious Me, and like that show, I feel was way ahead of its time because its humor is still so relevant and relatable
Mm,
to this day.
mm.
So we've talked about some of the best, but what are some of the worst representations you've seen of South Asians or Asians on any film or TV show?
Did you ever watch Citizen Khan?
Um, no, I saw one episode. But I felt it was kind of it felt fake to me. It didn't feel genuine.
That's not very good. I don't think it's very good. Which is a shame because the Citizen Khan character was it came from a sketch show that was unrelated to that show originally, and it was really funny. But as soon as they gave him his own show, it became this like weird, cliched, gimmicky thing that I just people did not connect with. And yeah, I think that was an example of how not to do things. To be honest, um, yeah, I wasn't impressed with it. Um, and any time you get South Asians just playing a tokenistic role in the movie, like the taxi driver or the corner shop
Yeah,
owner, or whatever, or just the token terrorist or whatever, just there's a lot of
yeah, it's
there's
just
a
so
lot of
annoying.
yeah there's a lot of that going on. Like Homeland, I thought was awful for that. So yeah, there's a few examples of things like that.
Yeah, it annoys me now when I see a TV show and then some guy walks into a shop and then this guy's like, "How can I help you today? Do you want some food?" I'm like, "Oh my god, really? We're
Mm.
still doing this? It's 2019." Like it gets me a bit like the whole Apu controversy.
Yeah, that was interesting because when I first looked at that, I was like, what is the big deal?" But then when I read into it and I looked at the reasons, I was like, "Oh, you know what? It's a fair point. Fair point."
Yeah, because for me, I feel like that character has contributed to a lot of the stereotypes.
Mm.
And people are saying, yeah, but The Simpsons made fun of Scottish people or made fun of this people. But at that time, Apu was the only brown character on
Yeah,
TV.
even now
So
there's
people
not a
just
lot of South
assumed
Asian
that's
people.
what brown people were like.
Yeah, and
So,
even now there's not a lot of South Asian representation. So like Apu's one of the go-to references, whereas Scottish people, you know who they are because you had Sean Connery
yeah.
as James Bond.
Yeah, you don't see any, we don't see like any anyone else in like such a high role. So you just see Apu and you think, yep, that's pretty much every South Asian.
Mm. Mm.
But one piece of representation that really annoyed me is, have you seen, I think it's Short Circuit 2 or Short Circuit 1?
Yeah, that guy's not even Indian.
Yeah, I searched it up and I'm like, that guy he doesn't look very Indian. He just looks like he's very tanned. And I searched it up, I'm like, yeah, no, this guy's not Indian. I was
Yeah, I
like,
only
I
found that
actually
out. I think Aziz Ansari told me that in
Master of
yeah,
None.
Must Have Known. That's when I found out about that, and I was like, what? It blew my mind.
Yeah, no, that episode of Master of None about Indians in television was, I think, one of my favorite
That was a great,
pieces of
yeah,
TV of all
that
time.
was that was a great episode. That was a, I mean, it's a good show, but that was a particularly great episode.
Yeah, no, that episode, like, seriously, I just found, like, when I saw it, I sort of said, finally,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
someone's bringing this up. It felt like I sort of felt like I could breathe and just say, yes, someone is saying something. This is important. I was just so happy when that happened.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So, in your eyes, what do you think can be done to achieve a better and more realistic representation of the Asian slash South Asian community?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So, in your opinion, what do you think can be done to achieve a more realistic and better representation of the Asians slash South Asian community?
I think there's a few things. I think TV networks and gatekeepers need to give South Asians more opportunities to tell their own stories. So it's not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. Have more screenwriters, directors, producers who are from that background. I think diversifying the boardrooms where these decisions get made would help a lot more. I think so that tokenistic stories um, don't get through. When it comes to casting as well, people are better, or when people want to write an Asian character in a mainstream story that more due care attention is paid to it. But also, I think there's a massive job for um, parents of this generation to do now to if they have kids who want to pursue a career in the arts, to actually encourage that as opposed to discouraging it and making them go into the science artsy thing humanities area, which is where we encourage people, which is where South Asians mainly encourage their children to go, become doctors and lawyers and all that sort of thing. But that's fine if that's what you want to do. But if some kids want to be directors or actors or comedians,
Yeah,
please let's encourage that, because that is going to help. Once you start coming up in numbers, then they won't be able to ignore it.
I honestly could not agree more with your point. Yeah, because I personally want to go into the film industry and become like an editor or director. So yeah, I've had like conversation with my parents saying, you know, um, I don't want to be an accountant or a scientist or like something like that. I want to go in the film industry. And at first they're like, oh, but like now they're really supportive of it. They are like checking for which best universities for film there are, and like, because actually my love of film really came from my dad, because he's a huge film person. He kept taking me to films when I was little, so I really grew up on films and like cinema.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now,
What was the first?
yeah,
What
no,
was the first film you saw at the cinema?
honest thing is Finding Nemo.
Oh, nice! I love that film. That is honestly
Solid.
my.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think I
solid.
think it's still my favorite Pixar film of all time, and that's controversial
Yeah,
because there's a Toy Story trilogy, but Finding Nemo is so great.
yeah, it's just, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's truly one of the best animated films of all time, without a doubt.
Definitely. Mine was Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park. That was my first film I saw at the cinema.
Wow,
That was great.
that film scared me. That film actually scared me. I watched it
Yes,
when I was like
it's a
9.
scary film. It's a really well made film. One of Spielberg's best.
Yep, for sure. So, what are some British Asian comedians you're a big fan of?
So Ramesh Ranganathan, Nish
Yeah,
Kumar, Gus Khan, Shazia Mirza,
of
Imran
course.
Yusuf,
Yeah,
Atif Nawaz, Ali Official, Brown Girl Problems. There are some really good up and coming. Well, some established and other up and
yeah.
coming British Asian stand-up comedians and also kind of like sketch comics on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, that you just check out all those names. Yeah, I'm sorry if I've left any out. It's not a slight. It's just yeah, just kind of on the spot. Just those are the names that just came to my head. But yeah, there's so many great established stars. Almost kind of established like myself, up and coming, and then some people who are kind of kind of more in the kind of on their way up. But yeah, definitely the Sunil Patel as well. I should mention. There's some really good talent here in the UK.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Paul
I am
Paul
so
Chowdhury, Paul Sinner. God, yeah, so many good
yeah.
names, so many great names.
Like I'm ecstatic that now I can type in like Live with Apollo or something, and then I can see people that look like me, people that think like people that in a way are me,
And that's
and
important
they're
because it encourages like people like you and the next generation to pursue careers in the arts. It might not be in front of the camera, but we need directors and editors and DOPs and lighting engineers and all that sort. We just need in every facet of the industry. We need representation.
like anytime I see a new sort of brown or like a really funny brown comedian that I thought, wow, it's incredible. I go to my parents and say, guys, this guy is hilarious. You have to check this person out. And then they would sit down and watch him like, wow, this is amazing.
That's pretty cool.
This person's hilarious. And yeah, I feel like right now, yeah, I feel like it's great that, especially if you're like a sort of a young South Asian kid like me, who's wants to see more of themselves on screen. It is now something where it's actually happening and happening properly.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely improving.
So over the last 10 years, how do you feel uh, South Asian representation in particular has progressed?
I think it's gotten. I think it's definitely improving here in the UK. Can't speak for other places, but it's definitely improving. There's still things to be done to improve things, but definitely it's moving in the right direction.
So one thing I love about sort of the UK comedy scene is that a lot of great comedians have comedy travel shows where
Yes,
they go around the world and visiting the fun. And like, I honestly love those shows. I've seen like so many of them, and I just want more and more and more. So, if you could like, if you had your own comedy travel show, who would you bring with you? Like, what comedian would you bring with you, and what places do you want to visit?
oh, so man, I was trying to go all over the world. I think me and Guz Khan should go traveling somewhere. I think that'd be really cool.
I would watch that. I would watch that like so much.
Go to
That'd be the
play
best thing in the
Go to
world.
places that maybe that are new to us, that are kind of out of our comfort zone. I think that'd be really cool. Um, yeah, maybe some adventure sports. I think that'd be quite cool. Going with Guz Khan, I think that'd be really fun. Um, I think I'd love to go explore Palestine, Israel. I've got a Jewish comedian friend called Alex Edelman, and we've been talking about going to maybe Israel, Palestine, and exploring and Jerusalem and exploring that. So we're talking about maybe doing that. Um, I'd love to like explore all the major religious sites of the world and what they mean to people. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, man, lot of good ideas. Yeah, lot of fun things I like to do.
I would say pretty much all of those ideas you just said to me. They sound
Thanks, man.
pretty like all sound insightful and interesting, and plus, you as a host will add some really fun to it. So, do you have any advice for anyone that wants to go into television or that wants to go into comedy?
I'll start with comedy. If you want to go into comedy, so there's two types of it. There's stand-up comedy and there's more like sketch comedy or vlogging.
Yeah.
Sketch comedy vlogging is the easiest thing. Just pick up a camera. You got your everyone has a camera now because they've got their phone, and just start making content and putting it on Instagram and YouTube and wherever else you use for social media. Just start doing that. In terms of stand-up, um, in the UK, I don't know what the scene is like in Singapore, but in the UK, there's a really healthy open mic circuit, and that's a circuit for new comedians to try out material. So just find your open mic circuits and try and initially go and watch them and see what it's like to get on stage and how receptive audiences are to certain types of jokes, and then just start writing your own material and make that leap to go on stage. And if you like it, you'll carry on doing it. In terms of TV, just I think write to places and ask for work experience. Um, be prepared to work for free for a while, and I think that's harder for people who don't come from big cities. So if you're from London, that's quite easy because obviously you can live at home. But if you're not from London, that's not so easy
Yeah.
because if you're not earning any money, then how are you going to live? So it is quite difficult. But I think even with TV, maybe start off in local radio, local TV stations. In the UK, every region has local TV stations or local radio stations. Start there. Start learning how stuff works. And if you're good, people will put in words for you, and then you can move into areas that you want to move in. Because no one starts from zero and ends up on the set of their favorite TV show. It just doesn't work like that. So you got to you want to make your mistakes in the areas that you're least interested in. So
Yeah.
just start with local radio, local TV, learn the ropes, see how things work. You end up making a lot of teas and coffees for people, but also you'll be learning a lot of stuff. And you got to take all that information in, and then just keep moving up, keep learning, and hopefully it'll start happening.
So, how did you personally get into comedy?
So I was in London a bit bored, good 8, 9 years ago now, and I just started researching writing courses, and I came across a stand-up workshop. So this is a good way of getting into stand-up as well. I came across a stand-up workshop. It didn't teach you how to be funny, but it teaches you some of the mechanics of stand-up and how to and writing exercises and how to get writing and stuff. And that was a really really good workshop, and that was one day a week for 6 weeks, and at the end there's a showcase where everyone who's on the workshop invites their friends and stuff, and you do your what you've prepared over the course in front of those people, and that went really well. And that was honestly how I got started. Then I got into the open mic circuit and just started doing every gig that I could do, and then just started slowly progressing up.
Ah, okay. So, and now here you are.
Yeah, here I
Like,
am.
you're on like big TV shows. You're in talks for your own TV show.
Mm. I
You're
have my own TV show. I got my so Channel 4 here in the UK have given me my own TV show for the summer, which is kind of like a satirical look at British life. So I'm really excited about that.
do you mean Bounty?
No, so this is different to Bounty. So Bounty is a sitcom that I'm developing with Channel 4, and we're still in talks for that, but nothing new to announce yet. But inshallah, we'll get that as well. But this is a separate show to that called the Tez O'Clock Show. So yeah, I'm very very excited. This is me in front of a studio audience talking about things that I want to talk about. So very exciting.
I cannot wait to see that. Um, sorry, you said it was called Tesla
The
Clock.
Tez O'Clock Show.
Tesla Clock Show. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna. So yeah, if you're listening to this, make sure you note down that the Tesla Clock Show is coming soon, and I think honestly it's going to be amazing because we have such a great person who's going to be headlining it.
Thank you.
So, what was your very first gig like?
Yes, my first gig was the showcase from the stand up workshop that I went on, and it was great. They put me in at the end, which was a nice compliment, and it was just really really good. I had quite a few friends in the audience supporting me, and people just laughed in the right places, and it was just so encouraging. I think if that gig had gone really badly, there would be no, I wouldn't be here. Tez Ilyas would not be talking
Wow.
to you. Like it's just so good that that first gig went well, and it gave me the encouragement to think that what, maybe this could be something that to pursue, or at least a hobby that you enjoy at the very least.
Yeah, it is a bit crazy to think that like if no one had responded to what you were saying all that time ago, then I would probably not be sitting down here talking to
Yeah,
you. So
yeah,
it's
mad.
um, if you wouldn't be doing stand-up comedy, what would you be doing?
Well, before stand up, or actually 6 years simultaneously while doing stand up, I had a career as a civil servant. I was on the graduate program after university, and I was working in London, in Whitehall, and that would probably still be my career now. I'd be trying to fix Brexit.
Oh, ow. Oh, okay. Wow. So yeah,
Yeah,
good thing you're a comedian.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Brexit is just a mess. Um, so, what was your worst gig?
I've had bad gigs where people heckle you, or things don't go well because stand-up comedy is so subjective. You can do the
Yeah.
same material to one audience and they love it, and the next night you do it to a different audience and they hate it. It's just so I've had gigs where people have just not laughed and stuff, and now with experience I know how to deal with that. But early on when I didn't have experience, I had nowhere to go. I had no plan B, plan C, plan D. So it was just just some very tough gigs early on, and then you end up getting heckled and you just end up losing it. So yeah, every comedian that you respect that you can think of who has done stand up comedy has been through that experience. So yeah, yeah, it happens.
So, when did you know that you wanted to do stand-up comedy for a living? When was the moment where you went like,
Honestly,
yeah, that's what I want to do?
it was after my first gig. I had no ambition growing up of being a stand-up comedian. It was a coincidence that I found that workshop. But after that first gig, I was like, you know what, I definitely want to pursue this.
And how did like your friends and family react to you saying
Oh yeah, it was very bizarre
that?
for them because they were like, what do you mean you want to be a stand-up? Like, I might as well have said I want to become an astronaut. It was so far removed from my experiences. So yeah, it definitely took a bit of time to convince them. But early on, when I first joined the circuit, I didn't really tell many people, especially my family, what I was doing because I just wanted to see if I was actually good at it. Because if I wasn't, then whatever, I would have dropped it. But as things started progressing, I was like, yeah, tell some people now. And yeah, I think family especially were a bit shocked at first because they were like, "What? We don't do that. That is a weird thing to do." But my friends in London who'd come and see me, they were like, "Yeah, you're pretty good at this. Carry on." So yeah, it's going well.
So, last question is at the end of every episode,
Hmm.
I ask my guest to recommend a film to the audience. So, what's a film
Okay.
you think not enough people have seen and more people should go out and watch?
Okay, well, I think From Dusk Till Dawn, not enough people have seen that. They should definitely go and watch that. I mentioned that at the beginning. Four Lions, definitely. If you haven't seen that, please go watch Four Lions. And then let me think, what is a film that people should see that they haven't seen? So we're not talking new films. We're just talking
Any
of any time,
like
right?
year or anything like a film you want to recommend to more people?
There's a South African film called District 9, which I think is
Oh,
brilliant.
for sure. I've
I
seen
don't know
it
if you've had a chance to watch it. Yeah, I think that's a great film that people
actually
should definitely
on
watch.
I think fourth episode of the podcast. I interviewed the sound designers behind District 9 and Arrival and Blade Runner.
Oh wow, that's incredible! Yeah, yeah, wow, that guy must be amazing. Yeah, so I think that's an incredible film. Yeah, people check out District 9
Yeah,
from South Africa. It's Yeah, it's good, and it's got parallels with apartheid and stuff. So
yeah, it's
it's
incredible
definitely worth
sci-fi
watching.
film which I had no idea it has such a small budget, and yeah, it's a truly great film. And I think I was going to recommend something else, but I feel like this is the perfect recommendation for. I was
What were you
going to
gonna What
recommend
were you gonna
people
recommend?
go see the film The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's a nice little uplifting film about getting out.
Sorry, you cut
Oh, it's
you
called
cut
The
out there. What
Secret
was the name
Life
of the
of
film?
Walter Mitty. Ben Stiller, yeah.
Oh yeah, with
It's a
Ben
nice.
Stiller. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Wait, no, I have seen it. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
I haven't seen
it's
it.
something I saw in cinemas when it first came out, and I'm like, "This is amazing." And then the critics were like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "But it's not." Like, nope, no, 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 it's bad. I'm like, "But the film is nope, don't enjoy it." I'm like, "Fine." Then I saw it again. I'm like, "No, no, no, this is still amazing." And then I ordered it on Blu-ray, and I saw it again. I'm like, "Yeah, this is amazing." And it's basically about finding yourself and breaking from your comfort zone and just trying to be the best possible version of you that you can be. And it's just a fun, feel good movie that's amazingly shot and amazingly directed with incredible music backing track.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I'll have to check that out because yeah, I think maybe the um yeah, the critics were quite unkind to it, so maybe I give it a miss because of that. But yeah, I'll definitely have to go check it out. Well, 7.3 on
Yeah,
IMDb
and
isn't too bad.
but I have a weird sort of relationship with IMDb because there are some films that I absolutely despise with a passion that have ultra high scores, and then there are like,
Like like
okay,
like
this
like
is gonna
like
be a
what?
really controversial opinion, and I know I'm gonna really annoy some people that enjoy the show and enjoy this film, but Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I can see why you wouldn't like that. I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was really good to see Freddie's story on the big screen like that. But I can see why people didn't like
Yeah,
it.
and same with Green Book.
I haven't seen Green Book yet, but yeah, that seems
It's
to have quite a high score
because Bohemian
on
Rhapsody. Okay,
IMDb.
this is my personal opinion, but I felt like it was just a bit inauthentic, and the editing. As someone who edits a lot of stuff, editing just really was ultra subpar, and it just felt really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
I
won the
was
Oscar
actually
for
watching the
editing.
Oscars in I think at break during school, and I in the film department, and they announced that an Oscar goes to Bohemian Rhapsody, and I just slammed the laptop shut and said nope, because as someone who edits, seeing that film win best editing is like Donald Trump winning best comedian, for example. I know that's an awful analogy, but that's sort of like how it was. That's like I don't know. That's like
Wow.
tomato winning best fruit. It's not. And Green Book, in my opinion, is just a bit saddening because it's a fun watch. It's entertaining, but it's really forgetful. And its message about race has zero nuance or depth. It's just saying racism isn't good. Um, if you be nice to someone who doesn't look like you, then good on you. And also, this film has cured racism. When yeah, people are acting like the film's cured racism when no, it hasn't. And it's sad to see something like Black Klansman not get the same love that Green Book got, because Black Klansman
Yeah, I really like Black
and
Klansman.
yeah, because Black Klansman for me was my best picture winner. In my heart, that's what should have won. It was so nuanced, and this discussion of how you can try and fight racism from the system, but you also have to be worried that people are gonna use their like the system to push their racism. And it was
Really liked it.
if you
I
like
liked that a lot. So yeah, if you haven't seen Black Klansman, definitely
yeah,
go
Black
leave that.
Klansman came out really late for us in Singapore. It came out in late October for us and was released in one cinema, which yeah, so I made the journey down and saw it, and honestly, it's incredible. If you like Black Klansman, then I really recommend Blind Spotting. It stars David Diggs and Rafael Casal, and it is it discusses things like gentrification, police brutality, racism, identity, politics, and so much more, and it still manages to be bitingly funny.
Cool.
um did you see that Spike Lee, after Green Book won best picture, he just stormed out?
Yeah, he wasn't happy with he wasn't happy with it.
I don't blame him, because Green Book is just Driving Miss Daisy but reverse, and Do the Right Thing lost to Driving Miss Daisy 30 years ago. So it's a bit, I like just a bit. Yeah, I do feel bad for Spike Lee, but you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
So um, today, this was probably one of my favorite episodes to record ever.
Oh,
I
thanks, bro,
honestly
man.
had
I
such a
appreciate that,
blast,
man. I appreciate that.
and I actually learned some DIY skills with this episode because I had to construct my own mini sound booth
Wow.
because I'm recording at home. So I've got a bunch of my school gave me a bunch of foam that is commonly found in camera boxes, and I lined a big cardboard box with it, and put my microphone and my laptop in, and got a nice little setup going on here.
Nice.
And yeah, this has been such a fun episode to record, and I want to thank you so much for helping out. Do you have anything you would like to plug or
Yeah,
promote?
if people follow me on social media, it's just my name at Tez Ilyas, Tezilyas on Twitter and Instagram, and facebook.com/Tez Ilyas on Facebook, and tezilyas.com, my website. Sign up to my newsletter. And I know you'll have listeners from all over the world, and at some point I'll come out to you. So yeah, listen to that. It'll be fun.
Great. Thank you, and I honestly can't wait to see your TV shows that come out
Thanks,
soon.
bro.
Um, and I honestly can't wait for Man Like Mobile Bean season 3 and the Tesla Clock show. It's gonna be epic. So thanks for listening. This has been the episode.